Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Foreign High School for today's WPSL Northeastern Conference matchup. Today's match features the visiting Merrimack Valley Hawks FC and Inter-Connecticut FC. Let's meet the starting lineups for both teams. First, for the visitors, Merrimack Valley Hawks. In goal, wearing number 12, Abby Yitson-Handel. The players in the field, wearing number 2, Corinna Beckstein. Number 3, Eliana Ferreira. Number 4, Emanuele Ferreira. Number 5, Ava Copago. Number 6, Marissa Sage. Number 7, Riley Mitza. Number 8, Logan Nicholson. Number 9, Ashlyn Walsh. Number 15, Luca Marceau. And number 20, Leah Morier. And now the starters for Inter-Connecticut. In goal, wearing number 13, Christina Dynasy. In the field, wearing number 3, Darren Dixon. Number 4, Elise Smith. Number 6, Dolene Smith. Number 8, Sophia Vijani. Number 11, Taylor Gotsegan. Number 12, Megan Sirowich. Number 25, Mia Schaefer. Number 26, Jenna Peduzzi. Number 27, Ella Peterson. And number 29, Estefani Aguilar. Fans, we ask at this time if you're able to please rise and kindly remove your hats for the play of the national anthem. Fans, thank you so much for coming out to this afternoon's matchup and supporting WPSL Soccer. We hope you enjoy the game.
And a hello, everybody. You're watching a presentation of WPSL Soccer here on the Inter-Connecticut YouTube page. This is home match number 2 of the 2026 season for Inter-Connecticut. Is the last time that we saw the hosts come out here to Foreign High School in Milford, Connecticut. It was taking on the defending WPSL champions in Sporting, Connecticut, and it was a 2-0 victory for Sporting that day Today, Inter looking to take on another foe here in another tricky assignment as Merrimack Valley Hawks, a team that finished second in the Northeastern Conference last year, is here today when we're just about ready to go. JJ Duke here with you. We'll give you the starters in just a moment here as the visitors, Merrimack Valley in the blue jerseys and Inter Connecticut in the black jerseys. And with the referee's whistle, as we hold the pause for just a second here, and we are underway here from Milford, Connecticut. Take a look at the starters for both of these teams. First for Merrimack, who are 0-1 on the season. They lost to Rhode Island by 2-1, where they got a goal early on from Emanuele Ferreira and then gave up a couple of goals in the second half to fall in their first match of the season. Rhode Island have gotten off to a flying start, including knocking off Sporting Connecticut by 3-1 in a rainy Sunday afternoon last week. Here is their starters. In goal is Abby Itzen-Handel, who is in the pink jersey today. And then in the field, Corinna Beckstein wears number 2. Eliana Pereira wears number 3. The aforementioned Emanuele Ferreira wears number 4. Ava Copico wears 5. Marissa Sage wears 6. Riley Mitzo wears 7. Logan Nicholson back in the squad after an outstanding season last year wears the number 8 jersey. Ashlyn Walsh up front wears number 9. Luca Marceau 15. And Leah Morier wears the number 20 jersey. A little bit of a smaller bench for the visitors as well. They only dress 5 and do not bring a reserve keeper, as Darren Dixon for Inter Connecticut plays it into a channel looking for, that would be the number 6, and Dolene Smith, one of a handful of newcomers into the squad here today, is Stephen Bell and his coaching staff make a handful of changes from that 2-0 defeat to Sporting Connecticut. Christina Dynison in goal, who made nearly double-digit saves in that match 1 week ago. She is back in between the posts. Darren Dixon wears the number 3 jersey. Elise Smith, number 4. We have Dolene Smith, as we said, who will be operating on this near wing, wearing the number 6 jersey. Sophia Bajeni, who is outstanding in the midfield, as this ball is a little bit too strong over the top. Flag came up anyways for offside. Bajeni will wear the 8. Taylor Gottsagen wears 11. Megan Sirowich, number 12. Mia Schaefer had a really solid match in defense last week, wears 25. Jenna Peduzzi, who came off the bench in the last match, is in from the start today, wears 26. Ella Peterson, and another one of those standouts in the back, as she will lump this one forward off the set piece. 27, and Estefani Aguilar getting a start today as she chases this one down. Or excuse me, that was Dixon who will chase it down. Keep an eye on Aguilar, a player that is someone that could really be a difference maker in this squad, who is completed her junior season at the University of New Haven, had a goal last season there in 13 appearances. Someone that could do a job at a number of different positions, as this will go back towards Itzen-Handel in goal. The goalkeepers coach at Gordon College, a 2010 graduate. The Elder States player in this roster for Merrimack Valley. A heavy touch, though, and Dixon able to come away with it and looking for options. She has Bajeni over the top. It's cleared away. As you'll see, it's a little bit more of a narrow playing surface here at Foreign High School. The full 120 in terms of the length, but looking more closer to 65 yards wide. It really came into play in that first home match for Inter Connecticut, where they were able to sit in and not allow Sporting to play through the lines, often utilizing a really high line and offside trap, but the visitors were able to break through on a couple of occasions and got goals, including the second one coming in second half stoppage time. As that will go out for a throw-in, with Merrimack Valley wearing those, shall we say, a combination of a pale blue / Carolina blue, but the big Duncan logo across, as Walsh will nod that forward. And going back home is Peterson to Dynison. Last season for Merrimack Valley, they had a number of players factor in on the goals. They do see the departure of Meredith McDermott, who had 10 goals last season, 6 the year prior, which is second most on the team. But they returned Nicholson, who had 6, including really was someone that provided the early season offense, and then everyone else kind of came up as this ball dinked in towards Bajeni. That one was deflected. Beckstein will help that over to the far side of the field, and then eventually just cleared forward. Not going to be a throw for the host. It should. It was wisely played by Gottsagen, and it will be a throw for Inter Connecticut. What you can say for Merrimack Valley last year is good balance, and a lot of the players that were featuring in that squad one season ago that finished second in the Northeastern Conference with a 6-win, 1-loss, and 2-draw record. They were the only team to defeat Sporting Connecticut at Ole last season before that squad ended up winning the conference, the region, and eventually the national title. And the weird one about that was Merrimack Valley, that was the back end of a 2-game and 2-day stretch where they were able to really find good run of form down the stretch of last season and won 4 straight to close out the campaign. If it wasn't for a couple of tough results against Rhode Island last year, that team seems to be a bit of a thorn in the side of a lot of squads over the last couple of years. They're a few years removed from being a national semifinalist in the WPSL. A couple of results against them go differently. Could be Merrimack Valley was the one that's standing and moving on to the East Regional Tournament. But Jenny out of the midfield, the Iona University product. And 2 goals and an assist last season for the Gales. Dynason's clearance, not a good one, but the effort from Leah Morier goes off the mark. Someone who certainly you don't need to give a second invitation to is Morier, who is the GNAC Offensive Player of the Year last year. It's a Division III conference at a Rivier. He's had a single-season program goals record mark with 18. So if you give the ball to the number 20 and keep her off the line, expect chances. And someone that would likely be on the end of a number of chances over the course of the season for Merrimack Valley because, well, obviously the goal-scoring record speaks for itself, but familiarity, as the home field for Merrimack Valley is on the campus of Rivier. Riley Mitza now going back with the center back pairing of Copico. It does look like it's a modified 3-back, as skipping forward here is Eliana Pereira. That pass into the channel just a little bit too strong. That is the risk that you can take here with the narrow playing surface. You can operate with that 3-back and then have your outside backs just bomb up the field. And with that being said, Inner trying to play through the lines, but it's a good tackle away. And here comes Ferreira. Chance knocked down. Nicholson now into space, puts it into a dangerous area, but the touch just a little too heavy for Morier. That was certainly an opportunity there for the visitors here in the 8th minute. Long ball ahead, looking for Sirowicz trying to head on. It's those second phases that Inter-Connecticut didn't really have a lot of success in their last match, but the good news for them is they've had a week and a half worth of training. Kind of the way that the schedule worked out for Inter to begin the season. They played their first 2 matches across a stretch of 5 days, where they went to Vail up in Middletown to open up the season, a team who had already played a game, and a team that had been together for a period of time. They played in the WPSL 2 last year, which is kind of like the transition or reserve league, if you will, for a lot of teams utilizing that division to get ready to move up if you're not quite there yet. That's what Vail used last year, as Dynaston will roll out to the far side of the field. It'll be a throw-in for the host. Man, Vail got off to a good start in that one, ended up taking the 2-1 victory, and then you saw the Vail team who gave Sporting Connecticut a real challenge in the conference opening game of the season. And you play Sporting Connecticut, it's not exactly the easiest start to the season, as a strong tackle from Peterson. Well timed on that one. And the hosts will clear their lines. So all in all, it was a very tricky start for an expansion team. Now a week and a half of training under their belt. They're looking a little bit fresher. There's a ball here for Smith, and it's cleared away. That's Dolene Smith. It'll be a throw for Inter. Dolene had a really solid season last fall for Iona. She's one of a handful of Gales on this roster. And 6 goals and 3 assists in 19 appearances last year. 7 goals across the 2 campaigns for the Enfield, Connecticut native. Nice move from Dixon. Just the finish, not nearly enough with the power. As it's in handle, will play quickly towards Marissa Sage. Sage, one of a handful of players at UMass Lowell, and a goal and assist last year, and formerly America East All-Rookie Team selection. This Merrimack Valley Hawks roster heavily littered with players from around the Boston area. There's Walsh. Oh, that's not a good pass, and Ashland is through on goal here, but a save from Dynison. Oh, it's a brilliant stop from the veteran netminder, bailing out her defense in front of her as it was a poor back pass, and Ashland Walsh through on goal, but not able to give her team the lead. One of a number of saves that we saw similar from last week from Christina. Made herself as big as possible, but cut down the angle really nicely. It is going to be a corner to come, though, for Merrimack Valley. To the near post and headed away by Peterson. It will stay on, though. So a reload coming. Comfortable that time. And Dynison will just allow everyone to carry forward. Nicholson trying to curl that into the upper corner. That's a good clearance as well. Peduzzi trying to read the bounce off the turf, but intercepted from Pereira. Morier over the top for Walsh, who once again has gotten in behind. Walsh saved again from Dynison. Well, that time Ashland was able to steady herself and get a good effort on goal. Christina Dynison once. And yeah, just didn't come off as a wasteful effort off the corner. We'll give it back to the hosts. You can already mark that down as a couple of key saves here for the Inter-Connecticut netminder. And that was knocked out for a goal kick. So come back here to the hosts. About a quarter hour or so gone into this one. Well, last year, Walsh for Merrimack Valley with 4 goals. Again, one of those players that really found the great form over the course of that back half of the season. She was one of the players that scored in that match against the eventual national champions in Sporting Connecticut. A 3-1 victory that was in back-to-back games, knocking off Albany Rush one day prior. As Nicholson is asking for teammates to join here, Mitza now to Ferreira. It's knocked away. Manueli, a player that stars for Stony Brook. 15 appearances for the Seawolves with a goal and a couple of assists last year, but someone that has also represented the U.S. in futsal. Appeared in the CONCACAF Women's Championships a couple of years ago. This is threaded through, and Dynison off of her line to take it right before Nicholson was there. There's a number of players on this Merrimack team that have a futsal background. For those unfamiliar, that's a version of soccer played indoor, mostly on a basketball court, 5-a-side if you will, but kind of one of those games that if you want to develop your technical ability, but you can go places with it, including playing at the Futsal World Cup. This is a foul on Inter-Connecticut. One of those players for the visitors, actually we'll get to that in a second, is a ball quickly over the top here. Chance now squared across and held by Dynison. One of the players that featured in last week's match for Merrimack Valley, but not here today, that would be Martha Lord, who's appeared for the U.S. women futsal team as a goalie, despite actually being a forward for Stonehill, but currently playing at TST. As that one lobbed over and in. Oh my, what a finish. There's a little bit of a giveaway in the midfield, and All of a sudden, Dynaston got caught off of her line, and the visitors. That was Luke Marceau with the tally. It came a little bit from nothing, it has to be said, but a great finish nonetheless, and the visitors are on the board. Goal score for Merrimack Valley in the 15th minute from number 15, Luke Marceau. And now the visitors might be in again here, but the offside flag comes up. Shot put wide anyways. That certainly will come as a warning to the visitors, but Dynaston off the clearance, trying to put it into space, and Inter-Connecticut kind of turning off a little bit there for a second and allow that chance to develop. Sage able to track back, and the visitors will reset out of the back. It has to be said again for Marceau. That's a really well-taken finish. Luke, another one of those UMass Lowell players. Completed her junior season, had a pair of goals last year against BU and Maine. 4 career goals over her 3 seasons, as we'll see a line change, if you will, for Inter-Connecticut. In WPSL, it's roll-on, roll-off subs, so 3 on, 3 off coming here. As Maxine Sampson on the field, Mia DePronio on, and also Marissa DePronio, both making their debuts for Inter-Connecticut this season. And Stephen Bell trying to figure out the right pieces into the puzzle. Peduzzi off, as is Dixon. I believe Gottsagen is the other player that came off. But you can even re-enter multiple times over the course of a half, so things didn't work. One, you can go again. Another chance here for the visitors. Save from Dynaston. Loose rebound, though. Marceau trying to take it down. Peterson trying to clear it away, and eventually it will go over the end line. Believe that was Walsh on the other side of the field that was able to get ahead of steam and create a chance. It's been a few times on that right side of the field where Inter-Connecticut have been hurt here in this first 15 or 20 minutes. And there were a couple of changes from the squad last week. Kiri George, who was alongside of Peterson, stood out well, really keeping a very dynamic scoring unit for Sporting Connecticut. And I say unit, there's a number of players, as the referee's going to bring it back for a foul. Looked like advantage could have been played, but felt like there wasn't anything with Morier in possession. So a free kick coming for the visitors, as Nicholson will take this. And Nicholson's going to ask for everybody forward here. One thing that was interesting in walking here to Foreign earlier today is how windy it was. It has seemed to die down a little bit as we got closer and closer to the match. And bringing another tricky dynamic to this field. But it was swirling. It wasn't going one way or another. As Riley Mitza will go back, and now it allows Inter to get up the field. The one nice add to this game, it was rather cloudy and dreary when we got here, but the sun has come out. Unfortunately for us, it is blaring right down on top of us, and I thought a light top would be fine over the polo, but that might have to come off at some point. Our camera operator is wearing a full sweatshirt, and I'm thinking to myself, that I don't know how you're living in that. Does have the hat on, so that's a positive.
I was expecting much colder.
We were all expecting cold. It was 55 and windy.
49 when I left my house.
49 in other parts. If someone said it was snowing, I really wouldn't have been surprised either. And here we are 2 days away from June. A dangerous one from Peterson, trying to recover. Does enough. Was that ball into touch? It was. It won't be a foul, but a throw-in for Emanuele Ferreira. Brings back the point I was talking about with Ferreira's futsal background. Martha Lord, who appeared for Merrimack Valley in their first match of the season, currently playing in TST, or the soccer tournament, down in Cary, North Carolina for Sportive FC. As there's a men's and women's and a mixed competition going down there, each for $1 million, winner take all. The ball around the corner. It was Walsh who was trying to thread that across. It will be on just for a throw, though. Didn't go out for a corner kick. It's very much been all Merrimack Valley here in the first 20 or so minutes of this match, as a couple of changes will come now for Inter-Connecticut. And a pair of debuts, Evelyn Chudowski, who wears number 2, and Maddie Johnson will check in. Chudowski, the Cornell product, also represented the Dominican Republic at the youth level, and then Johnson, who's a Staples High School product and will be playing at St. Lawrence. One thing about this Inter-Connecticut squad in their debut season, there's a mix in terms of experience and youth, but when you talk about the youth, you have a number of players that haven't even graduated or will just be graduating high school very soon. So getting experience here at this pre-professional level will only help them going forward. This ball stayed on, and the shot from Walsh was blocked. Or excuse me, that was not Walsh. That was Beckstein getting forward from her supposed left back position. Shouts a handball, waved away. Nice job tiptoeing the end line there and created something out of nothing for the visitors. And speaking with those around the club in the build-up to this season, what they really wanted was having that good mix of experience and players that are only going to use this season to help further develop their skills, and playing against players that in some cases played professionally or had stints professionally or played at a higher level in this country, whether it's in college at Division I and didn't latch on to a club but still brings that caliber. Games under their belt this season is really just going to help them carry forward, as this is not a danger to Dynaston. Christina again having that sequence inside the first 10 minutes, denying Merrimack Valley a couple of goals. Brilliant one-on-one saves, and then eventually getting lobbed in the 15th minute as this ball played into the channel, knocked out for a throw. As I look across now, Merrimack Valley having their subs starting to warm up. Elise Smith with a throw. That one knocked over her head and out for another throw. Smith, another one of those young players who will be playing at the University of Bridgeport in the fall. Rash tackle, and now Walsh has gotten through once again here. Denied twice earlier on, steadies and scores. Well, third time's a charm for Ashlyn Walsh, and Merrimack Valley have doubled their lead inside of a half hour. And just a well just really found the back of the net regularly at the college level. Walsh, who has had well over 20 goal contributions across 2 seasons for Fairfield. Someone who's now finding the back of the net regularly for Merrimack Valley. Merrimack Valley goal in the 23rd minute, scored by number 9, Ashlyn Walsh. And there was a long conversation after that goal went in as well, with Dynaston along the back line. And yeah, there was a couple of players that were really pulled out of position. There's one defender that held Walsh onside by a good 5 yards or so, Schaefer. And Walsh has once again gotten in behind, squares it across. Referee's thinking about it, plays the advantage, and the goal goes in. It's Emanuele Ferreira rattling that one off the post. And it was a really good advantage from the referee there. It looked like goals pretty much coming in fast and furious for the visitors. That one scored in the 25th minute. Merrimack Valley goal in the 25th minute, scored by number 6, Marissa Sage. I say that you're most prone to conceding after seeing a goal go in, but usually that would go for the opposite side for the team that scored. And it's a credit to what Merrimack Valley have done here in their first 25 minutes, the first ever meeting between these two clubs. They've just found space in behind. Walsh, who has provided a couple of those chances. Marceau, Walsh, and Sage each with goals. Apologies for getting that wrong. It looked like it was Ferreira, the one that had gone all the way forward, but Sage sitting in the middle of the field slotted that away. Really kind of the good news right now for Inter-Connecticut is because it's still so early on in this match here, kind of just reset. See if you can find a way to create some inroads over the second half of this first half. Find a way to get back into this match. You can hit that reset button at halftime and then go again. It'll be a throw for Inter-Connecticut, and it looks like Sarah Campbell will get ready to check in. She will do so right now for Elise Smith. There are also a handful of changes after that third goal from Merrimack Valley. Elaney Stoll wearing number 10 in, Soraya Ross 11. They replace Marceau and Ferreira's another ball hit into the channel here. A foul goes against Merrimack Valley. Interesting there for a second. Didn't seem that there was much in that in terms of a foul from the visitors, but referee spotted something on Beckstein. A strong tackle from one of the goal scorers in Sage. Nicholson now. Happy to go back with Riley Mitza. And if you're just joining us here, 29th minute. Couple of key saves from Christina Dynaston to keep it 0-0, but then chances have been coming and nearly one more as that ball squared across. Just there was no touch at the near post. To apply what would have been a fourth. Merrimack Valley getting a goal from Luca Marceau in the 15th minute. Their clearance found her and were able to lob the goalie from 25 plus, and then 2 goals inside of 3 minutes from Walsh and Sage. Again, I was speaking about it earlier for this Inter-Connecticut team, a team who really kind of got the tough role of how the schedule turned to start the season when you're playing arguably the 3 top teams in this conference to begin the campaign. And also still with Rhode Island to come, who have looked the team that has been making the most noise in this season. Well, they're still trying to piece it together. Zitz and Handel will go short. Now Sabrina Campbell, another one of those changes that came on after the third goal. Down the line to Stoll. Good tackle, though, from Peterson. Tricky one for Dynaston to clear. She only could side-foot it ahead. Ross trying to help it in behind. And Dynaston just asking everybody to get forward here. And more importantly, to try to win those second phases. Come out for a throw for Campbell. Someone who's been active in each of the first couple of matches today, coming off the bench for Inter-Connecticut. Dual sport athlete at Framingham State. Oh, it's a lovely take, but a better tackle. Nicholson will tee it up from some ways out. Boy, I'll tell you, that was not all that far off. Logan Nicholson seeing the keeper slightly off the line and having one. Nicholson, who graduated from New Hampshire back in 2014, played 1 year grad season at New Mexico. Someone that could do a job at a number of different spots on the field, including being a key goal scorer, and 6 of them last year. He's one of those players that got off to a good start, had a couple of goals against New York Shockers in the second match, scored against Rhode Island in the season opener in a 1-1 draw. And then when Meredith McDermott, a Virginia product who came in, she was the one that really finished on a high note, including scoring 4 in a match against Kingston Capitals. Mia Schaefer. Good little turn away from pressure now with Peterson. Campbell, had time to take that down. It's going to work out well, though. This ball hit into the channel. Here's Johnson, her first action. Good tackle, but this should be a corner. Yeah, really well timed there from Mitza. The first sign here from the hosts going forward. Team that did score in their season opener from Liz Constante. I'm trying to get their first at home in this inaugural campaign. Inter-Connecticut are going to send the bodies forward here. One clip to the back post to a decent area. It's in handle, got hands to it. And just eventually speared away. Schaefer. It's deflected, and this should be another corner, and it is. It'll be Mia DePranio who will trot over once again and serve it into the box. Another Iona product, though, completing her senior season last fall. Going short. That was intended for Bajeni, having that Gales combination. But look at Campbell tracking back. A good turn, but Nicholson with the interception. Now here comes Stoll with Ross and has an option off to her left. Ross will go for a goal and puts it away. Soraya Ross off the bench in the 33rd minute makes it a 4-0 lead for Merrimack Valley. Off of her line. It certainly has gone bad to worse here for the hosts, but it's a lovely finish from the substitute. Merrimack Valley goal in the 33rd minute, scored by number 11, Soraya Ross. Again, that goal comes from a spell of Inter getting a couple of chances. They go short off of a corner, release a little bit of a set routine. But Merrimack Valley, and albeit just only using the 5 substitutes at their disposal today, but those who have come on thus far have made a difference. Sabrina Campbell down the line. Stoll does ever so well. Take that down. And Stoll once again skips past the defender. Might have had time to wait a little bit longer and pick apart a pass. The referee is going to bring this back here as Ella Peterson slow to recover after a bit of a crunching tackle. I'll just have a drop ball here. About 10 minutes to go left in this first half. Kayla Geyer for Inter-Connecticut is getting ready to check in. Thought for a second that the referee might have let her come back on, or let her come on, I should say now, but Let's play on. Ball around the corner. That's a lovely one as well. Ross has gotten in behind here and scores. From an acute angle, Soraya Ross coming off the bench and scoring twice. And it's a 5-star performance here from Merrimack Valley in this first half. Look at early on the cross. That time waited and saw just a little bit of an opening and lifted it over the keeper. Merrimack Valley goal for second in the match, scored by number 11, Soraya Ross. Right now, there's going to be a lot of questions for the Inter-Connecticut coaching staff and Stephen Bell, and things to ponder and chew at for halftime, tactically, and also just trying to inspire to get the group back going here. There have been moments where Inter-Connecticut have shown some good things, but at other points, Merrimack Valley have just made this look easy. Good tackle, though, from Campbell, making amends for having Ross go around her in the last one. Just cleared away to safety and out for a throw. Flag will come up. It'll be offside on the visitors. Now, Merrimack last year did have a couple of games where they put together some pretty high scoring outputs. Mention that Kingston team from last year, who are not participating in the league this year. They have been in and out of WPSL. They had a couple of 9-goal outputs. They had 4 in a victory over New York Shockers. A little surprising to see that organization electing to not field a team this season. Of course, we're not knowing what the inside information is, but they had been a fairly regular group over the last few years, support both NPSL and UPSL teams on the men's side. But that was a 4-1 victory for Merrimack last year. So this is a group that is familiar with putting up big numbers. And for Merrimack, one of those for this season where, hey, if you want to be there or thereabouts in the league and trying to make a run for the postseason, you have to score a few. There's another chance, is off the post. It looked like Donison got a piece of the effort from Nicholson, and it just stays out. It certainly has been a tricky first half for her. Has made a number of really good interventions and stops. That time was able to use the full extent of the stretch to tip it onto the post. But yeah, in an 8-game regular season, you play everybody in this conference once and then have a home and away. As the conference regular season champion goes to the East Regional Tournament. There are 16 conferences in WPSL, split into 4 geographical regions. You win your conference, you're moving on. And already with the defending champions in Sporting Connecticut dropping points last week to Rhode Island, points on the board are points on the board. And also goal difference will come into play beyond head-to-head. That's just been the problem for Inter here in this first half. They've spatially just haven't gotten into those pockets where Donison can pick apart a pass, and when she has, it's just the second phases as this one is bundled over the line and make it 6 for Merrimack Valley. Just a ball into a channel and squared across. To be fair, I couldn't quite tell who got it. we'll take maybe another look at that at some point, just to get the confirmation of that goal. Meanwhile, Inter-Connecticut on the attack with Mia DePranio. An interception, and now a chance here for the visitors to break this hit into the channel that should be covered by Peterson, and it is. The thing that hurts us up here is just the little shadow that we have across the other way and the glare that's going right into us. Forget trying to see stuff. There's another ball down this right side that has proven very successful for the visitors. This skips all the way through. Settled, but a good block. That was by Geyer. Kayla Geyer stepping into that. And Johnson trying to turn, but muscled off the ball. Now Stowell trying to help it ahead. That goes by everybody. I think if I have that right, that's Kira Fitzpatrick who has the goal. We'll go downstairs and just get confirmation of that, but I'll mark it down that it was Fitzpatrick's goal in the 39th minute. And halfway through this first half, it was 1-0 to the visitors, but Ashlyn Walsh had a couple of chances in that first 20 minutes, eventually got hers, and then just been a flurry of goals since over the last 15 minutes. Marissa Sage in the 25th, Soraya Ross with a pair of goals inside of 3 minutes, 33rd and 35th minute, and then we believe Kira Fitzpatrick had the 6 just a few moments ago. Oh, it's a great switch out wide. Geyer should be able to keep this on. Has 2 in the box to wait for. On a heavy touch that Ferreira is able to recover. That's disappointing from the hosts. It was a great switch out wide, and Geyer a good first touch, but just a little bit too much. Now Merrimack going to play through the lines here with Marceau, who got the goal scoring started in the 15th minute, lobbing Donnison from some ways away. Maxine Sampson trying to link up with Campbell. Message certainly from the coaches to the players at halftime will be just win, sequences. Every 5 to 10 minutes, possess a little bit longer, limit the mistakes in the back. Can you win the half? Trying to build on those small victories going forward. Still, of course, plenty of matches left to go in this regular season for Inter. This is going to be a corner to come for Merrimack with about 2 minutes left to go. Also should have a little bit of stoppage time as well. That's a good area, but Peterson able to clear it away. But Jenny couldn't fully clear it away, however. Stoll keeps it on. Bent into space. Peterson slices it into the air. Donnison gets clattered, and the referee will bring this back for a foul. It's brave from the goalkeeper right there. And Christina slow to recover after that one, but it's one of those as a keeper who's already been worked a lot in this first half. You have to be brave to go up and command your area, and she was. There's a little bit of a concern here as Inter-Connecticut do not have a reserve keeper dressed. Looks like she is okay. That's something that you do see at that pre-professional level at times where just purely on the basis of player availability, you may not have a second keeper option, though in the previous match, Inter-Connecticut had 2 substitute keepers available. Just kind of the way that it is. It's a good switch by Bajeni out to that far channel. Geyer Ball over the top. Flag stays down. But the ball just wouldn't settle for Chudowski. That was a real good look, though, for the hosts. Evelyn Chudowski got in behind and just couldn't get that last opportunity and that ball to settle for her. The referee has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of first half stoppage time. Time will be kept on the field. So 2 minutes of stoppage time, and that is a late tackle, and this is going to be a yellow card coming. And kind of a look of bemusement there, I believe, from Maxine Sampson, and it is. She was late with that tackle and will go into the book. And a free kick coming now for Merrimack Valley. The referee has issued a yellow card in first half stoppage time to Inter-Connecticut's number 19, Maxine Sampson. So a minute of those two gone here. This will likely be the last opportunity of this first half. Be Emanuele Ferreira to serve it in. Instead goes for goal, and not one that she's going to remember. Well, this Merrimack team who wanted to respond after leading early in their previous match against Rhode Island, but falling by 2-1. Well, they've certainly shown that they've had that bounce-back ability in their locker, putting 6 away here in this first half and getting balance from across the board. 3 goals coming from players off the bench. Right now, the big thing for Inter-Connecticut is how do you respond coming at a halftime? And they've faced with the gauntlet to begin this first WPSL season with a number of really talented teams in this East region. It might actually be time for one more chance here. It's a heavy touch. Keeper gets rounded, but Donnison is able to gobble it up. And that should do it for this first half as the referee is going to blow the whistle. And that will bring us to halftime here from Foreign High School. But it is Merrimack Valley Hawks who lead Inter-Connecticut in the first ever matchup of these two teams by 6-0. We'll step away for halftime. We'll be back in a quarter hour here as you're watching WPSL Soccer on the Inter-Connecticut FC YouTube page. And welcome back here to Foreign High School as we're just about ready to start the second half of this WPSL matchup between Merrimack Valley Hawks and Inner Connecticut FC. It'll be Merrimack Valley to get us back underway here as they're in the blue jerseys going from right to left on your screen. JJ Duke with you on the Inner Connecticut FC YouTube page as our referee blows a whistle and we're back underway here. It was a high-scoring first half for Merrimack Valley. It took them about a quarter hour to get going when Luca Marceau lobbed Christina Dynison from 25-plus out. And then from the 23rd minute on, it was goals fast and furious for the visitors. Got a goal from Ashlyn Walsh in the 23rd minute. 2 minutes later from Marissa Sage. 33rd and 35th minute from Soraya Ross. And Kira Fitzpatrick rounded out the goal scoring in the 39th. Something that will certainly make Merrimack Valley very happy is the fact that 3 of their 6 goals coming from players off the bench for a team that is missing a handful of players due to unavailability, unusual players, I should say, due to unavailability and those playing at TST this weekend down in North Carolina. But yeah, you have to be delighted going on the road after losing your first match to Rhode Island last week and getting the performance and finding the gaps in Inner Connecticut's back line that they did. This ball punted into Corinna Beckstein, and eventually Inner able to get it away. And really interested to see how Inner Connecticut come out to start the second half. And you'd have to imagine Stephen Bell and his staff would say to the players, you reset, you treat it as a 0-0, you have an opportunity right now to showcase what you've got and show the bounce back ability that you have, because this is still a long season, another 5 matches to go after today. Now, certainly in terms of how the schedule goes for these two teams, and we'll go take a look as the rest of this half goes on. For Inner Connecticut, you think to yourself, okay, you have that Rhode Island match, and then not to say the rest becomes manageable, but the rest you have possibilities to get some results from. We do actually know one result from elsewhere, as there's a handful of matches being played on this Saturday afternoon as that ball knocked out for a throw for the visitors. Found out that Albany Rush knocking off Vermont Wild by 2-1. That Vermont team coming back into WPSL, albeit under a new name. They're furiously the Vermont Fusion. Back in the 2022 season, got to the East Regional Final, falling to SJEB in that. Then took a hiatus after the 2023 season. But now you call them an expansion, but a new but returning team. Then a couple other expansion teams, the Connecticut Rush, who play up in New Haven, Albertus Magnus. I believe that's the home and away off the memory for Inner Connecticut. It is a fortuitous bounce, finds Dolene Smith, but cleared away from Ava Kopico. Now here is one of the goal scorers from Merrimack Valley in that first half. That is Ashlyn Walsh. A good tackle on the opposite side of the field. And Inner Connecticut back in possession through Mia Schaefer. That ball searching for Megan Sierwich, but it's cut out by Beckstein, the Holy Cross product. Now to Marissa Sage, another one of those goal scorers. Got the 3rd in the first half. Walsh able to lay that back for Liam Morier. Good save from Dynison. Morier, who we highlighted as a player to watch at the early stages of this broadcast. Her scoring abilities from Rivier this past fall put that one on a tee from the setup from Walsh, and it was at a good savable height, but the save had to be made nonetheless. Logan Nicholson, who was pulling the strings in that first half, will go short. Beckstein's effort and held. Dynison able to take that one, though. That ball was swerving a little bit. Now, she was trying to fight through some traffic and bodies in front of her, but able to take it and hold it. This is going to work here for Peduzzi. Now Smith. Dolene getting it out wide. Schaefer's been given license to carry a little bit forward, not able to keep that on. And for Inter, just looking at the setup that they still have that 4-back set. Again, we mentioned that there are a few players unavailable for Inter that were in the squad in the first couple of matches. One of those, Kiri George, who was a stalwart at that center back position in that 2-0 loss to Sporting Connecticut a couple of weeks ago. But she and Ella Peterson are outstanding in that match, but not available today. So you have now Sophia Bajeni deputized at that center back position as Walsh trying to chase that down. Now Sage trying to beat Taylor Gotsengen to the spot. That's going to work out for Nicholson. Well tackled away from Schaefer. Pops out wide to Emanuele Ferreira onto the left foot, but comfortable for the Inter goalkeeper. Unofficially had her down for 3 saves in that first half. Already 3 here to begin the second. But Inter trying to build out of the back, and that was taken away as Nicholson again will let fly from distance. Always traveling, but always high the mark. And really where Inter were hurt in that first half was just not getting players onto that second phase of that knockdown. You have Jenna Peduzzi playing underneath. Sirowicz is a striker. The referee's going to stop play here. I can't believe I'm about to say it. There's plenty of holes in the net, but we found the one that mattered. Just have to move the sandbag on top of it. So for those unfamiliar with that joke, there's a YouTuber that I watch. He's called Smith, and he goes to different grounds. And the running joke is before the match, the lines persons check the net to see if there's holes in the net. Mate, there's many of them. But in this case, we actually found the one that mattered because you need to have the whole, basically the net clamped down to make sure to say the ball doesn't sneak through. Funny enough, I've actually called a game where that has happened before. Referees never spotted it, and the goal never counted. It was a number of years ago for the University of Bridgeport men's team when they hosted Franklin Pierce, who are in that stretch of that 3-year unbeaten run that they had. And Franklin Pierce had very much a good goal that was disallowed as Dynaston takes that really nicely off the corner, or the cross from Ferreira. But yeah, ball basically went right through the side netting, and, well, referee didn't spot it, and it was sent out for a goal kick. Beckstein had it, then lost it, but look at the work right there from Corinna Beckstein, player that has been a regular at Holy Cross over the last few years, second team all-conference in the Patriot League last year. 3 goals and 5 assists for the Crusaders. And it's done the job in a number of different positions for Holy Cross, as the referee is going to say, nope, a little too quick on the throw from Nicholson. For those that were watching the UEFA Champions League final, Luis Enrique for PSG, how many times he said that Arsenal players are not taking throw-ins from the correct spot. I've always said a rule that if I were to make the rules, this will be a foul on Inter, despite the referee, I think, actually pointing the other way for a second. But yeah, there you go. If there was a rule that I would put in, is someone that would follow the lines persons on either side and put like a little mark down where the ball went out, and that's where the throw's taken. You can move behind it, but you can't go past it. But that's for another day. Oh, it's a beautiful header, and there's another for Ashlyn Walsh. It was a bulleted header off the set piece, and Walsh has her second of the afternoon. Set piece goal. That's something in the course of an early season that you can get together on and figure out. And Walsh could say this as someone that calls a number of Fairfield games. I've seen her score 1 or 2 headed goals. Despite not being the tallest striker in the world, she does have that ability to find those pockets. And it's now 7 here for Merrimack. Merrimack Valley goal in the 54th minute, her second of the match, scored by number 9, Ashlyn Walsh. A free kick now and a chance here for Inter Connecticut to get players forward. And they had a couple of set piece opportunities back in the first half, though. Ironically, one of the goals that they conceded came from a corner. It was a short corner variety. Inter saw a quick transition from the opponents, ultimately scoring as Sirowicz battling with it and eventually cleared away. Eliana Pereiro is the one that was contesting. Jenny going short. Got Sagan and stood up. It'll be a throw for the host right in front of us. Just rushed a little bit. Sirowicz will chase after it. Sirowicz nearly making something of it. And Nicholson just has to scramble it away. I mentioned about Walsh's prolific goal scoring rate at her university squad and Fairfield in the Metro Atlantic, now soon to just be called the Metro Conference, as I got a comment from someone down below that was wearing a Mac pullover. Again, it was in the low 50s when we got here. It's much more warm up here in the press box. And someone said, well, cherish that forever because you're not going to be able to use it for much longer. And I said, you're absolutely right, which is why I'm wearing it today. But anyways, Walsh, in her second season in the MAC outfit Fairfield, had 3 goals and 9 assists, already 16 career assists through 2 seasons with the Stags. And a player now in 1 1/4 seasons for Merrimack has already scored a half-dozen career goals. So well over 20 career goal contributions at the college level, and then you add another half-dozen plus just total goals for this club. Good pressing here from Dolene Smith. Well recovered. Now here's Marceau. Ferreira out wide. Walsh end line, cuts it across, knocked down from Gotsegan and eventually gobbled up from Dynison. That's a nice move from the visitors. 1 and 2 touch passing. Can you see the number 4 out wide, Ferreira, just the calmness that she has on the ball. Never seems like she's rushed. Those are the types of players that stand out in any sort of a game. But the game goes to their speed. They're not the ones that are rushing things. That's a poor giveaway, and Peduzzi able to take it now. Numbers here for the hosts. So that ball is a little bit wide. Dolene Smith trying to make it. Ooh, that's a nasty fall. Riley Mitza shielded it away, and that's right on top of the track. And that you don't recover easily from. Eliana Pereira completed her junior season at UMass Lowell. 45 matches for the Riverhawks in 3 years. But one of a few times this afternoon that Merrimack Valley with a wasteful pass. Nicholson with another strong tackle, but Darren Dixon wins the throw and tries to take it quickly. Peduzzi able to tackle that in the way of Mia Schaefer, who's been given liberty to drive forward here. Stood up by Nicholson. A player with just a lot of experience at this pre-professional level. A couple of years removed now from playing college. That's a foul from Ferreira. But the shove in the back there to Dolene Smith, I believe it was. And that's a difference at this level, especially in WPSL. More so in the USLW League, you see more teams just kind of going with college-aged players. But with that being said, looked at the Hartford Athletic women's team. They have a few players that have NWSL experience in their past. But yeah, here at this level, you do have a bigger gap in terms of players where they are in their individual soccer journeys. Some that still even going through in the high school days. We've talked about for a few Inter Connecticut players, that ball did go over the end line and out for a goal kick. And then you have players who have experience playing this game all over the world and still come back and want to enjoy playing every summer. And that's where, again, the growth for a lot of these players when you play against stronger competition will help you, as Nicholson slices it, but it's going to work out. However, Walsh was offside. And Dynaston takes one high up. Walsh checking to see that the Inter-Connecticut goalie is all right, but that's not the first time that Christina's got in hit after the play. And again, the hosts do not have a reserve keeper on their bench. Something that is actually, for those unfamiliar with the English non-league level, the semi-professional level, and it's tiers 5 and below, you often actually don't have teams that dress reserve keepers, and who's going to be the brave one that will throw on the gloves? Not the case here, as Liam Morier is able to get wide, but Elise Smith able to clear it away. Throw taken quick towards Walsh, who, like Soraya Ross, sitting on a hat trick at the moment. Ball clipped into a dangerous area, and a swing and a miss from Marceau. Beckstein trying to keep it on and wins a corner. Looks like both teams are preparing changes, something that you don't regularly see off of corners, but Merrimack Valley electing to switch 4, and then also Mia DePranio is going to come on. Again, just as a reminder, it is roll-on, roll-off subs, so it's not to say like college soccer where if you come off in a half, you're done for the half. Especially where Merrimack Valley, they only have the handful of available subs, so they'll just make the changes as they see fit. Nicholson driven in near, and the shot goes wide, deflected behind, however. That was intended for Walsh, who was looking to wrap up her third. Nicholson again drives it, but right at the goalkeeper. There's just nobody forward for Inter outside of got Sagan, who's going to chase this down. Or excuse me, Sirowich, my apologies, will chase that down. A good step from Peterson. DePranio, yeah, good channel ball. Darren Dixon just had to wait for a second, took an awkward bounce. Stefani Aguilar stepping up and stopping anything going forward. Now Beckstein, lovely move there. That ball might work as Walsh giving it a run. Madison off of her line, clears it, but only as far as Ferreira. Emanuele just weaving her way past 3. That ball deflects out wide. A square ball across. I was looking for Ross, who's also sitting on a hat trick, but just wasn't able to stretch enough. There's a bit of bad luck for the Inter-Connecticut back line. Tackle was made, but made right into, believe it was Fitzpatrick. Who did get confirmation at halftime. It was her goal, the 6th of that first half. As thankfully, for about 10 seconds, we'll get some cover with the one lonely cloud. And then the sun's going to come back now. By the way, stepping out on the field at halftime, it is, I want to say, a legitimate 15 degrees cooler outside than it is here in the press box. It is wild. Nicholson. The idea is right, but the execution not to be. About 20 minutes here into the second half. Just the one added on for Merrimack Valley. That was Ashlyn Walsh, her second in the 54th minute, coming off of a Logan Nicholson free kick. It's not a bad area as Pereira has to let that drop and bounce. Mulaney Stowell over the top. Lee Smith trying to get there. Walsh got to it first. And scrambling across is Dennison, able to hold it. It does actually look like there's a few players for Inter Connecticut starting to get some instructions to get back warm. Back Stein. Squares it across, but the flag is up. Well, the flag is up, and the center referee, and now the referee who originally awarded a corner, does bring that back for the offside. And it looks like there's a problem for Beckstein and not putting any weight onto that right foot, and that is a blow for her at the moment. I think that came back from that through ball. There was a little bit of a coming together. And immediately going to be helped off, and we'll go over to the athletic trainer. So again, for all the college eligible players for any team at this level, that's the one heart and mouth moment for any college coaches watching. The last thing that you want while your players are in essence being loaned out to these summer teams. We want them to get their work in, get the minutes in the tank, so the transition over to the fall season is a little bit more seamless, but you never want to see players come off the field with an injury. So we hope all the best for Karenna, as now Fitzpatrick has gotten down this near side. Nicholson. Eliana Pereira. Morier. We'll say this for the visitors. It is a very narrow field here at Foreign High School, but they are making the most of this space and really combining well in those small areas. As Ferreira keeps that on, Walsh has turned the corner and just misses wide. I mean, that would have been a great finish to a team move there. And came after the injury to Beckstein, as there will be a couple of players for Inter Connecticut that will return to the field. That would be Evelyn Chudowski and Marissa DePranio. These will be more attack-minded substitutions. But yeah, it's a credit to Merrimack. And one of the things in going through all these teams' rosters for the season, by the way, good to see that Karenna walking just below us seems to have recovered okay. It doesn't, she wasn't really putting any weight on her right foot. Now is walking freely. And talking about the calm nature and the ability just to maximize the field here with Merrimack Valley. This is a group that returns a large percentage of their roster from one season ago. Again, a group that we're only just a handful of points from winning this Northeastern Conference last year, behind just Sporting Connecticut as this ball played through, but Abby Yitzen-Handel, a player that we've hardly had a call over the course of this match, is able to gobble it up and switch the field. Sure, Meredith McDermott not back with the squad this year with 10 goals from a season ago, 16 over the last 2 years, but a lot of the defense in the midfield returns. Sure, you do also see the departure of Sally Rainey, who is the conference goalkeeper of the year, as Walsh has gotten in behind, ball ping-ponging in the area, and Dynaston eventually gobbles it up before Soraya Ross, who is also sitting on a pair of goals, gets it. That would have been one with the Benny Hill theme music playing underneath it. I feel like I might have aged a lot of people in that one sentence. For those that know, no. But yeah, back to Merrimack Valley, this team, they lost McDermott, they lost Sally Rainey, and also Michaela Agresti. And when I say lost, they're not currently rostered on the Squatty app, but maybe perhaps later on the season they could be. They return well over a dozen players from that team. So with all these teams having very limited amount of time together, once colleges release their players for the summer season, you only need a couple of sessions for teams that return a big core, and then you just go at it again because you have that familiarity that's already built in, which is a huge advantage for some teams. You take, for example, the Sporting team from who we saw last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say. Good portion of that roster back. The Vale team that Inter-Connecticut played, sure, they weren't in the top division at WPSL, but they played together in the level below last year, so there's an understanding there, which is where, again, you see the scoreline, and it is what it is. It's a credit to what Merrimack Valley have done on this day, but the point being for Inter-Connecticut, it's going to be a building process, having that understanding and playing together. And for a lot of the college players, again, you play your spring seasons, but you only get a handful of matches. You have X amount of time every week to be together. It's really tricky to just snap on and then you go again. And then for the the post-grad players, not the overage players, the post-grad players, you might play in amateur leagues elsewhere or pick up, and then all of a sudden, match fitness and fitness are two completely different things. That's where if you're over these last 20 or so minutes, you really want to show some good spots. Obviously, defensively, they've done a bit better. As a corner will be conceded, but Jenny puts it behind out for a set piece. After the set piece, we'll take a look at what's coming up for both of these teams over the next couple of weeks. As Ferreira will clip this in, doesn't beat the player on the near post. Heavy touch from Pereira, recovered nicely though by Fitzpatrick. Nicholson, stretch a little too much there for Eleni Stowell, and it's cleared away. Be out for a throw. Chudowski not able to latch onto that, and this will go all the way back. And so let's see what Inter-Connecticut have coming up over their next couple of matches after today. They'll be back at home 1 week from today against Albany Rush, who are another one of those teams that have been in this league for a little while, but a number of newer faces because they took on a few of those players that were on that New York Shockers roster from one season ago. As I mentioned, the Rush did win their match earlier today against Vermont. As Lee Smith able to cut that out. Changes coming up for both teams as this is clipped over the top for Dolene Smith, and she's able to win that one. Evelyn Chudowski trying to let that one run through, but the referee is going to bring this back for a foul. Now, this is in an advantageous area here for the hosts. It might be one of those here inside of 30 yards where you try and drive this to the back post and you see if someone could either run onto it or if you have someone that's got within themselves to put it on frame. This is certainly a fair ways away. But Inter-Connecticut will put 4 into the box. And Abby Itson-Handel's going to ask for 3 in the wall. That wall may not also be 10 yards away, more like 9, but this one floated in, and if this is American football, that's 3 points, but instead it's a goal kick. So Inter-Connecticut will host Albany after this one. Then they'll travel to Rhode Island. Then you have the finish with Connecticut Rush a couple of times, another one of those expansion teams, and Vermont on the road up in Manchester, Vermont, Applejack Stadium. Really interesting one, by the way. Natural grass field at that facility, and they have a grandstand that apparently, according to the town website, was built in the 1890s because that was part of a horse race track. So that's kind of fun. But that's how Inter-Connecticut's schedule will look to finish up this season. Merrimack Valley, they'll actually play a handful of 2 games in 2-day stretches. We'll look at their schedule after this sequence. Stoll able to skip it out wide, serves it in, but Dynasson is there. Yeah, so this is the only match that they'll play this week. Merrimack will then go out to Rhode Island, take on the Rogues. And a rematch of the contest from a week ago where Rhode Island came from behind to win 2-1. And then those back-to-backs kick in. Merrimack will travel to Sporting, Connecticut on June the 13th, then host Vermont one day later. And all their home games are played at the Joanne Merrill Field on the campus of Rivier University. Then 1 week later, hosting Vail on the 20th, and then they'll also take on the Connecticut Rush one day after, and then finish on the road against Albany. Listen to the channel here for Evelyn Chudowski. Doesn't have any help at the moment, so Chudowski on her own, saved by Itzen Handel. And there was really not much that Evelyn could have done about that, so electing to go on her own and force a save. And Chudowski, the Cornell product, played a handful of games with the Big Red in her career, but multiple times an all-state selection out of Staples High School. Ferreira once again out wide. Catching practice for Christina Dynasson, who's now into double figures in saves. Electing to play quickly. That ball just kept running a little bit, and possession turned right back over. A little 1-2 not coming off. Marceau on to the right foot. Goes past Mia Schaefer, but Peterson able to recover. That deflects, and it'll be a goal kick. About 13 minutes or so left to go in this one. As we said, Inter-Connecticut back one more time here at Foreign High School 1 week from today. And then they'll finish off their regular season home schedule on the 19th of June. That's a Friday night fixture against Connecticut Rush, but that match scheduled at the University of Bridgeport. Familiar stomping grounds for a lot of players in the area, whether playing club games or future for UB players on the roster, or for me, that's where I got my broadcasting career started, at least at the university level. The irony is that field is absolutely ginormous in terms of the width, so much different than what we get here with the narrow confines. You can hear Inter's goalkeeper telling everyone to just push forward. Talked about, again, the small goals. You're chasing 6 at halftime. You can't quite look in the mountains. So how can you motivate yourself with a deficit? You try to win phases of the match. Can you win a half? Can you win a quarter of the half? Can you dominate the possession? That's what Inter have had to deal with here in the second half, is a foul on the hosts. Merrimack Valley will play quickly. There's Marissa Sage. Scored the third of the match in the 25th minute. Emanuele Ferreira. It's a good block from Elise Smith. The corner to come. Then another set piece for the visitors. You can see pretty much the entirety of the field now covered in shade. Those of us in the bleachers, and the two that are in the press box, not quite. This one clipped in toward the penalty spot. It's a good header, and the effort just goes wide. That was Leah Morier rising. And she's had her share of opportunities in this match, but not able to guide that on goal. As now Kayla Geyer and Maddie Johnson return back to the field. Darlene Smith, one of the players. No, check that. Would be the number 5, Marissa DePranio, who came off, as did Taylor Gottsagen. So again, in that game in a couple of weeks' time down at UB, that ball very much stays on, and it'll just be interesting to see how the different of the style that Inter-Connecticut will play on that day. But can't worry about that now. You play on every different type of a facility. It's a tough back pass and an opportunity now for Marceau. Sage. She and Ferrer have just been metronomes when they're on the ball. Ross across, but keeper has it. A little bit more stretching that's going on down below us with Merrimack Valley, again, with a handful of substitutes available for them today. Still trying to keep everybody fresh and somewhat rested. That's not a great back pass as Chudowski gets there. Schaefer just a little bit behind Geyer. And Merrimack Valley will bring on another, well, 3 of those 4 available off the bench. Bechstein, who picked up that knock earlier, looked to have been all right after 10-2 by the athletic trainer. Unlikely to see any further action. This will be noted for next week that bring the sunscreen, reapply at halftime for up here in the press box, or just hope for a cloudy day. Then again, it is going to be early June next week, so there is actually a good chance of that happening, as changes will come now. Of course, as I say that, I look down to the players that are coming on from Merrimack Valley, and they're absolutely shivering down there. You even have one with sleeves on. It's far different down there than it is up here. And Nicholson, Walsh, and Eliana Pereira back on. Ferreira, Ross are both off, as is Ava Copico, who I don't think has actually left the field up until this point. So earning a well-deserved rest. Again, the result certainly been confirmed for a while with that quick start that the visitors had, but we'll check in on some of the scores elsewhere in the league and what is to come for the rest of this Northeastern Conference. The next moment that we can do so, good tackle. Nicholson will recover the second phase. Nicholson, good tackle once again. That was Maxine Sampson doing a job in defense. But the visitors once again will power forward here. So 3 in the box to aim for. It's driven into the area that Schaefer is able to clear. Chudowski does well, but not able to find Campbell. Long distance effort gobbled up. Comfortable take. And so again, we knew that Albany Rush coming away with a 2-1 victory over Vermont Wild. Vermont will actually come down to the Nutmeg State tomorrow to take on Sporting Connecticut. That'll be a 5 o'clock kickoff. Also, Connecticut Rush just underway against Rhode Island. That is over at Albertus Magnus. And then that Sporting match against Vermont tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock. And all 3 matches next Saturday, all kicking off at the same time, as there's a player down on the other side of the field. That is Elise Smith. Just needed to walk that off for a moment. And those matches next week, Inter-Connecticut hosting Albany Rush at 5. Connecticut Rush hosting Vermont Wild, and Rhode Island hosting this Merrimack Valley team. That'll be a match to watch over at Roger Williams. The return of an early home and home. Make sure to stay tuned. Everything WPSLsoccer.com, and to watch every match, WPSL TV. Of course, thanks to all of you watching this evening with us, both on WPSL TV as well as the Inter Connecticut FC YouTube page. That's where all of the home matches for Inter Connecticut will air this season. The referee brings that back for a foul with just only a few minutes left to go. Can't imagine there's going to be a ton of stoppage time. Goal and the handful of substitutions. Also had the two injuries, so probably 2 or 3 minutes. Bursting run into the box, squared across, but cleared away by Schaefer. A little 1-2 between Chudowski and Geyer. Almost actually worked off. Sage got ahead to it, but Evelyn keeps going, so throw here for the host. And trying to end on a high note. And after conceding twice in each of the first 2 matches of the season, this one a little bit more of a tougher pill to swallow. Did score in the opener against Vail a couple of weeks ago. Held really without a chance on target against Sporting Connecticut, but I've had a couple of looks here in this match. That ball knocked down, kept on for a moment. Left-footed effort from distance by Johnson. It's taken, but another effort on goal from the youngster Maddie Johnson, who, as we mentioned earlier, the Westport native at a Staples High School. Play with St. Lawrence at the Division III level coming up. But getting some run against experienced squad in Merrimack Valley. And the flag will come up as referee now spotting it, and they'll wipe away the goal for Stowell, who cannot believe it, but she looked to have been at least a step off. Wouldn't have been the first time that we would have seen a Merrimack Valley goal come from the lob. That was how the scoring started back in the 15th minute from Luca Marceau. Caught us all a little bit off guard as Inter Connecticut punished for taking their foot off the gas for a second after a clearance. Johnson underselling that pass back to Schaefer, who just guides it out. Just a couple of minutes left of normal time left to go. Merrimack Valley again, they buoyed by that early goal-scoring burst in the first half. Well, really the middle portion of that first half is where things worked for them. A couple of goals that were scored in bunches, once in the 23rd and 25th minute from Walsh and Sage, and then the substitute Soraya Ross coming off the bench and scoring in the 33rd and 35th minute. Kind of took the steam out of this one. Certainly for Inter Connecticut, they'll say this has been a better half. They've created a couple of chances as well. But just needing that help underneath the strikers. This has not been there for them today. Addison takes that. Merrimack Valley going back with the Itson handle. Has been forced into action a couple of times here in this second half. referee has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of second half stoppage time. Time will be kept on the field. So we'll have 2 minutes of stoppage time. I have to imagine that's for the couple of injuries that we had back in the middle part of the second half. Could be one more opportunity for the visitors, but an important intervention from Sophia Bajeni. Take that away, and now a chance here for the host to break maybe one more time. Channel ball that was intercepted. As Campbell tried to loft that forward for Chudowski. But Campbell's still fighting and able to win it. Chudowski has the switch if she wants it with Geyer. It's a good area. Geyer onto the left foot, but just a better recovery run. That was a real chance, though, for the hosts. Good move started by the persistent work of Sarah Campbell down this right side. As we're into that second minute of stoppage time. That's a good turn from Chudowski, but then gets whistled for the foul as she took down Marissa Sage, who seems to be all right after that one. Should only just be a few moments left as the referee took a look at the watch. And that will do it as a referee saw that the 2 minutes have gone. And with that, the whistle will blow and a successful road weekend for Merrimack Valley as they knock down Inner Connecticut 7-0 on the strength of 2 goals from Ashlyn Walsh and Soraya Ross. Goals from Marissa Sage, Luca Marceau, and Kira Fitzpatrick as well as they improve to 1-1 on the season. Inner Connecticut back in action 1 week from tonight. They will take on Albany Rush at 5 p.m. Hope you can join us here on WPSL TV and the Inner Connecticut YouTube page. This has been a Bluegill Productions presentation of WPSL Soccer. For our entire crew, I'm JJ Duke saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening as Merrimack Valley knock off Inner Connecticut 7-0.
Final score here from Fordham High School. Connecticut 0, Merrimack Valley Hawks 7. Fans, thank you so much for coming out and supporting WPSL Soccer. Inner Connecticut will be back at home next Saturday here at Fordham High School as they take on Albany Rush. That'll be a 5 p.m. kickoff. Hope you can join us for that. Make sure to stay tuned on all of our